Former Packers head coach Mike McCarthy is fond of saying it took some 70 players to get the Packers through a Super Bowl season in 2010. Injuries ravaged the roster that season, and the Packers had to literally hit the streets to find players. Two notable in-season acquisitions were defensive lineman Howard Greene from the Jets and outside linebacker Erik Walden, who came to the Packers after being waived by Miami earlier that year. 2010, you didn't start with Green Bay. You were elsewhere, and there was a big buildup for that Packers team that year. But as the season unfolded, injury after injury after injury, and by late October, there was a need, and they needed somebody to come in at outside linebacker, and you got the call. When you got here, what were your impressions?
Very cold, freezing, but rest in peace to the great Kevin Greene. He just, kind of told me what to run down with the injury situation. Great opportunity for me here, and I just came in with open arms, and kind of rest took care of itself.
Tell me about Kevin Greene, and what was it like to play for him? Because he, to me, just a little bit, I knew him. I knew him, but not in a football sense. But he was energy personified. I can't imagine playing for a more intense guy.
Right. More like a big brother, like you said, the energy every day, gonna hold you to a high standard, very competitive. And I've seen a lot of, like he said, a lot of similarities in each other as far as the mentality and the attitude we pursue the game. And it was just a pleasure and honor to, be able to be coached by him, man, one of the great legends.
So when you got here, did you realize, or did it take long to realize that this team was heading places despite all the setbacks they'd had physically?
Yeah, you had to pick up things quick. Like obviously what you said, it was a lot of injuries, but they needed a need, and if you was able to fill that need, you seen a lot of potential throughout practice, throughout the season, and luckily we was all able to gel together, put it together, and have a good run.
The season came down to Week 17 at Lambeau Field against the arch-rival Chicago Bears. It was win or go home for the Packers, and the Bears decided, even though they had clinched all their spots in the playoffs and everything, they had decided to play their starters. They didn't want to see the Packers in the playoffs. Tell me about that day. What do you remember from that day? Because it was probably one of the best days of your NFL career.
Definitely one of the best, my best game, I'll say. It was just like you said, a great opportunity. We needed to win to get in the playoffs. Obviously the win didn't mean much to them. They didn't rest their starters, which we kind of suspected they would. We came out, I think it was a 10-7 game. Defense played stellar. It was kind of a battle back and forth between the offenses, and we was able to prevail, man, and get that playoff berth.
So once you get in, what was your expectation? What did you think at that point in time?
Super Bowl, because I was, coming from the other teams and getting cut and fired. I was like, what the greatest scenario to come here off the street, join the Packers, get in the playoffs, and win the Super Bowl. So that was like my only mission at that point.
Well, you had to feel great about yourself at that time, because your performance against the Bears the week before was a major reason why the Packers made it in, right?
Right. But at the same time, we didn't really have time to dwell on that. It was a bigger picture now. So, with them bringing me in, man, and the type of players we had with that coaching staff, it was just, it was a good mix for everybody.
So you get through Philadelphia, and Michael Vick chasing him around.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to Atlanta, you're playing the #1 seed, the Falcons, on a Saturday night in the Dome in Atlanta, and everybody was fired up. Was that really the point where you guys, in your opinion, became super?
I think so. Going to Philly and getting a big win, and then I feel like we just dominated Atlanta. It was a lot of hype coming to that game. Like you said, #1 seed, we're the 6th seed, we don't have a chance. And I feel like once we kind of, that second half, we came out and dominated, then we like, hey man, we got a shot just as anybody else to bring this thing home. And so we just used that momentum and kind of carried it for us.
I remember you guys got down 14-7 in that game. And then late in the first half, the game is, you guys are up by 7, 21-14. Remember Tramon Williams, I don't know if you were on the field for it, picked off that pass right before halftime, took it to the house. Now it's 28-14. That's when I said, oh my, this team's special. They're going places.
Big play by Tramon. He was able to pick it off and take it all the way back. And then, like you said, at that point, it really wasn't no looking back. It was like, it's ours for us to grab, and as long as we stay on that trending, then we should be good.
Okay, so the Bears' greatest fear was realized. You guys were coming in for the NFC Championship game. Tell me about that day in Chicago.
There was another freezer out there, probably I remember like 14 degrees or something like that, something really cold, but very competitive game. It really just came down to who wanted it the most. You can play a division opponent twice in the season, and then you're fortunate enough to play them a third time in the playoffs. Then there ain't really too many trickle plays. You know each other's tendencies, so it's really about who wanted it the most, and I feel like we wanted it the most, and we was able to prevail.
That was quite a game. I mean, B.J. Raji intercepts their third-string quarterback, Caleb Haney, returns it to the end zone. I'm figuring this has got to be over. If your nose tackle intercepts and returns to the house for a touchdown and you don't win, then it'll never be your day. But it was. But it came down to, in the end, they were driving for the tying score. And I'm not sure if you were on the field or not. I bet you were. Caleb Haney threw it over the middle, and that rookie Sam Shields came out of nowhere and intercepted it, and that was it finally.
Definitely. Unfortunately, I got hurt like the second quarter, high ankle sprain. So, but I became a fan then, cheering my team on. But yeah, they was driving. And I can remember, I think Shield had 2 that game. Yeah, 2 picks that game. But I know he made a heck of a play. And shoot, that was kind of the nail in the coffin.
Super Bowl. What do you take from that? What do you remember there?
Great experience. Cried all week because I knew I wasn't going to be able to play. I think it hit like Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm trying to do everything, rehabbing, but at the same time, you're still trying to enjoy that week, being out there in Dallas. Tremendous week, media coverage, all type of gifts. But at the end of the day, I was a little disappointed. You couldn't help your team. It's one of the biggest games ever. So, it's just something I had to live with. But, I'm fortunate and blessed, got a ring, and what a heck of an experience.
And you were a big part in getting them there. That's the thing. That was huge. You played with the Colts, you played around the league, that type of thing. What separates Green Bay from your experience in the rest of the league?
I think just the environment and just